Here's what's making news at midday. At least one person is dead and multiple people injured after a vehicle overturns at West Point. We'll have the very latest. People across the world are remembering the soldiers who fought in World War II 75 years ago today.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. Mark is on vacation this week. A little later this half hour, Marissa DeGroot from the Dane County Humane Society will be here. We'll meet our pet of the week that's looking for a forever home. But first, let's get a check on the weather. Dave Caulfield is watching the forecast, and it is a beautiful day outside this noon.
This is textbook early June weather, Susan, and it feels fantastic across southern Wisconsin. Plenty of sunshine, not too much in the way of fog left over from this morning, so we are basking in this beautiful weather across southern Wisconsin. And on visible cloud track, you can see just a few high cirrus clouds. Basically, there is still some fog near the lake. It's cooler near the lake with onshore flow today, so 62 in Milwaukee, but already up to 76 in Madison. Mineral Point already in the 80s at the noon hour. Dew points are a little bit high, so that air a bit sticky in some spots, especially closer to Platteville, where dew points are in the 70s, so that's not great. But we'll enjoy this typical summer weather while we have it. Temperatures will be near 80 later this afternoon in Madison, and we're falling into the 60s and 50s as we head into tonight. We'll talk about how long this dry weather will last and maybe some cooler temperatures on the way for next week in your First Alert forecast.
All right, thanks, Dave. We'll check back in just a little bit. Topping our news this noon, West Point officials say one cadet was killed and 22 others were injured when a vehicle they were riding in for summer training overturned. The U.S. Military Academy says the vehicle overturned on a dirt road at about 6:45 this morning. 20 cadets and 2 soldiers on the light medium tactical vehicle were injured. Officials could not provide the severity of the injuries nor the name of the cadet who died. The investigation and the cause of the single vehicle accident is still ongoing. Veterans and world leaders are in Normandy, France to mark the 75th anniversary of D-Day, the battle that helped lead to victory in World War II. Ian Lee is in London with more on the service marking that historic day.
75 years later, the guns over Omaha Beach rang out in remembrance. On June 6, 1944, they were fired in hate. Thousands gathered at the American Cemetery in Normandy, France to honor the sacrifices made on that fateful day.
On this day, 75 years ago, 10,000 men shed their blood and thousands sacrificed their lives for their brothers, for their countries, and for the survival of liberty.
More than 150 D-Day veterans returned to the shores to be with their comrades, including 96-year-old vet Jake Larson, who says Omaha Beach today looks dramatically different.
The sea here is clear. There was bloody bodies. What can a person say now, except that war is hell?
Nous vous faisons chevalier.
French President Emmanuel Macron presented a number of U.S. veterans with the Legion of Honor, France's highest award.
We know what we owe to you veterans, our freedom. On behalf of my nation, I just want to say thank you.
The ceremony concluded with several flyby salutes. This will likely be the last time so many veterans will gather, so the 9,388 headstones stand as an eternal reminder of the sacrifice. Ian Lee, CBS News.
And each of those headstones Ian was talking about has been adopted by a French family. People from all over the world come to France to look after America's boys. The State Veterans Museum is unveiling a new display today featuring equipment from a Wisconsin sailor used on D-Day. The display will feature rain gear, a helmet, and boots that Martin Gutekunst of Milwaukee wore on Utah Beach. According to the State Department of Veterans Affairs, Gutekunst was a 27-year-old radio man with the 2nd Naval Beach Battalion during the invasion. The artifacts will be on display at the museum until June 30th. President Trump, of course, is overseas for the D-Day commemorations, but he's also talking tariffs against Mexico and China. The negotiations have been focused mostly on what Mexico can do to stop the flow of migrants coming to the U.S. border. U.S. border agents apprehended more than 132,000 people last month, the highest level since 2006. President Trump says if those numbers don't come down, he will levy a 5% tariff on Mexico beginning Monday, and it will increase each month until it reaches 25%.
We've told Mexico the tariffs go on, and I mean it too, and I'm very happy with it.
President Trump isn't just focusing on Mexico. He also threatened additional $325 billion worth of tariffs against China. The U.S. has already imposed a 25% tariff on more than $200 billion worth of Chinese-made goods. The central part of the country is bracing for historic flooding this weekend. 7 million people are at risk from rising rivers. Grafton, Illinois is experiencing the longest-running floods in the state's history. Several towns from Minnesota to Arkansas have been evacuated, and to the south, a storm in the Gulf of Mexico brought rain and flooding threats to parts of Texas and Arkansas, where the water is already covering farmland. Paul McCartney will be performing for the first time in Madison tonight. McCartney will be taking the stage at the Kohl Center as part of his new Freshen Up tour. The Freshen Up tour will be McCartney's first outing following the release of his brand new studio album, Egypt Station. People in South Central Wisconsin will soon have a new way to save money, shop local, and celebrate everything Madison has to offer, because June 8th, that's this Saturday, is 608 Day. Playing off our area code, it's a day to celebrate and enjoy all things that make Madison so special, from music festivals and wine tastings to ice cream flights and laser tag. Everywhere you go, you'll see things to do and to eat for just $6.08, and you can find a full list of all the local business offering deals on our website, channel3000.com. There's much more to come today on News 3 at noon. When we come back, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Grab a bag of quinoa and get ready as we dish up a new salad that's packed with protein. Did I mention it's pretty tasty too? If you know us here in the Test Kitchen, we're not big on following fads or rushing after this or that trend just because a few people tout it. After all, how many times do we hear about something that's popular and it's either not readily available or the taste is just okay? But now that quinoa has become so mainstream and many of us have recognized all of its benefits, it's a great option to add to our pantry. So let me show you a salad that features quinoa in a whole new way. We start by cooking some quinoa according to the package directions. Takes just minutes. After it cools, we toss in some broccoli florets, a red pepper that we chunked up, a good amount of chopped red onion, and some crumbled feta. Of course, to make sure there's lots of flavor, we add in some dried oregano, salt, pepper, and a generous amount of a Greek-style dressing. Can't get any easier than that. Once this is tossed and chills for about an hour, it's ready to team with any of our mealtime favorites. Between the crunch of the veggies, the heartiness of the quinoa, and the wow we get from the dressing, what's not to love? To get the recipe for our quinoa veggie salad, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a different kind of way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you, Howard. There's more to come today on News 3 Now at noon. When we come back, a sunny and mild Thursday afternoon across southern Wisconsin. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield has your first alert forecast when we come back. More tough talk from President Trump on global tariffs and where you can use your leftover foreign currency to buy food in the U.S. Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
A mixed message on tariffs from President Trump. Mr. Trump threatened to slap tariffs on at least another $300 billion in Chinese goods. But he also said he thinks China and Mexico want to make deals to end trade disputes with the U.S. Meanwhile, the U.S. trade gap shrank in April, but the politically sensitive deficit with China widened. According to the Commerce Department, the imbalance between imports and exports fell 2.1% to $50.8 billion. But the trade deficit with China shot up almost 30%. YouTube updated its hate speech policies, prohibiting videos with white supremacy and neo-Nazi viewpoints. The video streaming site had already made it more difficult to find and promote those types of videos, but is now outright removing them. YouTube will also prohibit videos that deny certain events have taken place, such as the Holocaust. And if you have an extra euro, yen, or rupee lying around, you are in luck. McDonald's is accepting foreign currency today in honor of the launch of some new global additions to its menu, including the Stroop Waffle McFlurry and Grand McExtreme Bacon Burger. Here's the fine print. The offer to use the foreign cash is only good between 2 and 5 p.m. for the 4 new items. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
And let's see how stocks are faring at midday. The Dow is up 69 points, the NASDAQ is off, and the S&P 500 is up 4.5. Let's check in with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee. Hi, Pam.
Hey, Susie Q. Boy, I'm going to have to run home and grab some of my foreign currency. That Stroopwaffe stuff, we had that when we were in Holland. It's really good.
Oh, that's the best.
Sugary stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Boy, finally, something to do with my currency. Good, except wait for the next farm tour. Yeah. So today, what we're waiting on are more export numbers. We got some big numbers out this morning, actually surprising numbers, to be quite honest with you, on the wheat, on the soybeans and the wheat in particular. Corn numbers, we had so many cancellations this last week that any sales that we made were basically negated with that. Soybeans, though, we saw some surprising upticks there. The wheat market is on an absolute tear. Right now, July wheat is up 20 cents. The hard red winter wheat is up. The soft wheat is up. And some of it has to do with the weather conditions along the Central Plains. They're starting to see improved conditions on the wheat, but now weather may put in question just exactly how long that good news will continue. But like I said, wheat is on an absolute tear today. Everybody's getting on that bandwagon. Outside of that, there's really not much to say. More and more farmers are getting closer and closer to that deadline where they've got to decide, are you going to try to plant those remaining acres? Are you going to pull the trigger on prevent plant? What are you going to do with some of the government programs? Now, I want my dairy farmers to remember around June 17th is when you get your first opportunity for the 2018 dairy margin coverage program. That'll be available through your Farm Service Agency offices. So we're still in the wait mode. Barrel cheese today up 2 at $1.52. 40-pound block cheese up 2 1/4 at $1.74 3/4. Double A butters unchanged at $2.38 3/4. But fluid milk contracts, contrary to those numbers you just saw, they're now up about double digits as well, matching some of the momentum in the wheat. So like I said, Suze, beautiful day out there today, nice and warm. We just got to keep stringing them together, and then farmers ultimately are going to have to decide if they're going to give it a shot. One of my traders today said it's like Clint Eastwood saying, you feel lucky, punk, because it's going to be a gamble at this stage in the game. But farmers are risk takers to begin with.
Oh, yeah. It is a big decision, but they will like Dave's extended forecast. Trust me.
Yay.
That's good news. All right, Pam, thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
And speaking of, let's toss it over to Dave. Dave?
Well, Susan, we have another day of sunshine and dry conditions across southern Wisconsin. The highs yesterday, we did make it into the lower to middle 80s across much of southern Wisconsin. A little bit cooler near the lake, at least by the afternoon and evening hours, but not so much in our high temperature numbers, but that will change today, and we're already seeing that because temperatures near the lake, 62 degrees in Milwaukee versus 76 in Madison, and into the low 80s already at the noon hour in Mineral Point. We have onshore flow with high pressure to our east today, and that is kind of creating those cooler conditions near the lakeshore. We still do have quite a bit of fog over Lake Michigan, but the good news is the fog fog from this morning. You could see it actually dissipating on satellite earlier this morning, and we're just left with some higher level cirrus clouds and also with some cumulus clouds starting to form in Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam. We do have a little bit higher humidity than yesterday, so it may feel a little bit sticky in some spots, especially across southwestern Wisconsin, and that's a little bit of the reason why you see actually those cumulus clouds on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam. But just looking at higher level cirrus clouds, maybe a little bit of haze with that humidity on the WISC-TV Skycam, but at least we have the sunshine in place. Rain chances, they're non-existent basically over the next 48 hours, which is great. We're going to be probably dry as we get into later on Saturday and into early Sunday. That's, I think, when our rain chances start to come back to southern Wisconsin, a cold front on the way, and that could spark some showers and thunderstorms on Sunday. Now, high temperatures over the next couple of days staying a little bit above normal, in fact, about 5 to 10 degrees above where we should be for this time of year. But it does look like, as our rain chances start to return a little bit for early next week, that our temperatures are a little bit cooler. Not anything crazy. We'll still be in the 70s, I think, but I think lower 70s on the way for the middle of next week. I mentioned as high pressure continues to move to the east, onshore flow over the next couple of days, keeping it cooler near Lake Michigan, but our temperature is pretty consistent in the upper 70s and low 80s. And here is our next chance of rain, our next storm system on the way. It's taking its time, though, so we'll enjoy that dry weather through Friday and Saturday. As we get into early Sunday, that front gets close enough to us to bring those rain showers to southern Wisconsin, I think, on Sunday and possibly even into early Monday. As we take a look at that 10-day forecast, I think we'll be dry for much of Tuesday. Another round of showers and storms possible by Wednesday. Those temperatures in the lower 70s by the middle of next week. So that's a little bit cooler than normal, but nothing that we need to be on alert for, and maybe giving the AC a bit of a break by the time we get to next week.
Well, that's good news. That looks really good.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. When we come back, Marissa DeGroot from the Dane County Humane Society is here with our pet of the week. We'll meet Bo the cat when we come back. We'll be right back. Marissa DeGroot is here from the Dane County Humane Society. We're laughing because our pet of the week is quite rambunctious today. Hi, Marissa.
Hi.
Who'd you bring?
Well, this handsome guy is Bo, and he is a 5-year-old kitty with a lot of spunk, as you can tell.
Now, where did Bo come from?
Bo actually came up from an overcrowded shelter down in Arkansas, along with a bunch of other great kitties who were looking for homes up in the Dane County area.
Oh, he is so cute. How old do you think he is?
So around 5 years old, which I think you were saying that is such a perfect age.
Yeah.
They've kind of grown out of the really spunky, crazy kitty phase, and they start getting into that cuddly, mellow phase.
Yeah, they get sweeter as they get older.
They really do.
He is so cute. He just wants to be loved and scratched. He has a great personality.
He really does, and I think he's going to do well in a lot of different homes. The one thing about Bo we want to let people know, though, is he is FIV positive.
Now, what does that mean?
It can sound a lot scarier than it actually is. All it means is that he does have an illness that won't prevent him from having a nice long life. You just have to be aware of it because if he does get sick, he might get a little more sick than a normal kitty.
So he's more susceptible to getting sick. That's fairly common in cats, isn't it?
It can be, and again, it doesn't have to prevent them from having a full normal life, and he can go home as a kitty by himself, a kitty with other FIV positive kitties, or even a home with kitties that don't have it.
Oh, okay. Well, what about other animals? Dogs and any other animals is fine?
I think Bo's going to get along with a lot of other folks in the house. I think he has such a mellow and fun personality that as long as he gets a nice little introduction, he's going to do great.
Yeah, he just wants to play. He really wants to play. Okay, how about our pets from last week?
Our ladies last week, we had Ellie and Betty, and they did get adopted, those sweet girls. But if you are looking for guinea pigs, we still do have several bonded pairs of guineas at the shelter.
All right, good to know. Well, best of luck to Bo. Oh, you have an adoption special for cats?
We do. So the rest of this week, we are celebrating Adopt a Shelter Cat Month, and so adoption fees are all lowered. So a cat like Bo here, who is a young adult, is going to be $35. Our adults and seniors, $10, and our kittens are $75.
Oh,
so
that's
come on
great.
down and check them out.
All right, Marissa, thank you so much. There's the information if you're interested in adopting more animals. Let's head over to Dave real quick for a final check of the weather. Sorry, Dave.
It's okay. Temperatures near 80, mostly sunny, very mild, very nice weather for today.
Very good. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you back here for Live at 4. Have a good day.